Now we are going to talk about S3. Actually, AWS started their business since 2006. All right, and in that year they have only three service. All right, at the firstly launch cloud. The first, I will just say those three. S3 is one of them. Okay, one of the earliest service provided by AWS. And then we also have the EC2, okay, Elastic Compute Cloud. And then finally, we have SQS. But today we are not going to talk about SQS. EC2 is virtual machine, Elastic Compute Cloud. And then here, S3. Why we call it S3? It is because the name of S3 is Simple Storage Service. Okay, Simple Storage Service. So we got Simple Storage Service. That's why we call it S3. Okay, 3S. Okay, so this is an online storage service at the beginning, but now they have many features. Let's take a look in this service. So S3 is region bind. The first thing you want to store data in S3, you need to create a bucket first. Okay, the bucket, the name must be global unique. Okay, global unique. You cannot have duplicate name with any other AWS customer. And then after you create a bucket, an AWS account, you can create 100 bucket. Okay, that's the limit. All right. So and then after that, you can put your object. Okay, object just like the file. Could be video, could be document, could be audio, could be any file. All right. So this is object storage. And then S3 is a managed service designed for a very high durability. What does that mean? As many people often mix up the durability and then the availability. Availability, let's say 99.99%. It means that in, let's say, a whole day or whole month, okay, you got less than 0.01% that you cannot use the service. Okay, maybe in a whole month, maybe just a few minutes. So what you can do is you retry a little bit later. We don't say 100%. Okay, most of the time you can use S3, you can upload, you can download, but sometimes if you fail to do so, wait for a few seconds, retry. That's availability. And what is durability? Durability, as you can see here, we got 11 line, very high durability. Okay, let me say it in another way. You got 0.0001% chance that you will lose your data. Okay, so we do the calculation. If you upload 10,000 object or files, okay, in a million year, you may lose one. Okay, why we have such high durability? It is because we mentioned availability zone before. Remember, uh, your data upload to S3 using console command line, they will spread actually duplicate under the cover. Okay, you don't need to do anything. When you upload a file, the file will be replicate across at least 3 copy across a set. Okay, so if one ASAT goes down because of anything, fire, tsunami, any earthquake, or power supply or electricity problem, whatever, you still got another copy, okay, in another ASAT. Okay, 2 ASAT goes down, you still got a copy. If you really are afraid, you can replicate the data into another region. Okay, could be thousands kilometers away. Okay, but this is the features. By default, your data will be replicate across the availability zone. So that's why it's very high durability. And then S3 is event trigger, event driven. What does that mean? Nowadays, think about when you do something in your mobile phone application. Let's say you call Uber All right, you Airbnb, whatever, order the food. Okay, so everything happen automatically without human intervention. All right, so you immediately get the notification your credit card is charged. Okay, the Uber, the driver already going to you, and then the hotel room Airbnb already booked for you, reserved for you. So this is kind of event driven. Okay, so think about it. Suppose you have the front end, maybe web application, maybe the microservice. This is just front end. Your customer, all right, talk to the front end, all right, and then they place order, and then the order store in S3, and then S3, oh, if something upload, we call it object created event, and then automatically we do something. Okay, maybe some compute resources, yeah, process the order, and then the notification service send the email to uh, the customer. All right, something like that. Everything happen automatically. We call it event trigger. All right, so let's take a look on what S3 could help us to solve. There are many problems people face. So first of all, that's some use case. We learn from the use case. Actually, just store the content. All right, just like many streaming company do, store the media. Could be video, could be uh, the logo, the picture, the audio. All right, and S3 we can also add as the static website. Okay, I'll show you a little bit later. So what we need to do in S3 is we create a bucket first. Okay, the name must be global unique, and then this is the URL. But if you're using other region, let's say Oregon, let's say Tokyo, uh, yeah, the name may be longer, right? Because if you just use s3.amazon, aws.com, it means Virginia. Any other region, you have a relatively longer name. Let's say Singapore is APAC Southeast one. Let's say Oregon, you have a US West 2, something like that. So you got a longer name, but you got a URL for all the object. All right, so bucket name, and then you can upload your object. Could be video, could be audio. Okay, actually, your handout download from GoToWebinar, you can see the URL is something like that. It's actually using AWS S3. Okay, so uh, after that, let me just show you a demo. Suppose, let me go to S3. This is the simple. Oh, let me log in again. All right, so this is S3. I've got some bucket. The name must be global unique. Let's say I create a bucket. Suppose I say test. Okay, region by, we need to select the region. Okay, just any region. All right, and later we will talk about how we are going to select the region. Okay, and then in the architecting point of view, so we got a lot of features. We will talk about these features a little bit later. So if I click create bucket, there is error. Okay, it already exists. The name test is used by some other people, other customer, all right, other AWS customer. So if I type something uh, not acceptable, over here you can see we do not support uppercase, at least 3. So if you got anything wrong, then here will display to you. Let's say I'm going to use bamboo bucket 2. Okay, oh, this name is already used by me. All right, so you need to create some unique name, global unique, and then the object ownership. All right, by default, all the object is owned by the AWS account. Of course, the root user, the email address, would be able to touch everything. However, we can create dedicated admin. In AWS, we call IAM user. Okay, identity access management user. So you can grant right. You can also grant from other AWS account or grant to public. Let me just show you how now. By default, the data block the bucket block all public access. It means that uh, only the owner would be able to see this content. All right. Anything in the world, any people in the world would not be touched. All right. So it means that if some data in S3 may be storing some confidential data, phone number, credit card number, personal data, PI data. Okay, if those data are disclosed to the world, must be somebody did something wrong. Because by default, we don't allow public access. Okay, so I just keep it default. Versioning, we will talk about that. Tagging is absolutely important, but we will talk about that later. We can have encryption, but by default, it didn't turn on. And then we have some other features. Let me just create this bucket. And then let me upload something into this bucket. This is Bamboo bucket 3. And then let me just upload a photo. Okay. You can find from here, or you can just drag. Now I got a photo, just a cheetah. Okay. So when you upload a photo, all right, or any other file, and then to this destination, and if you go down, you can see the permission, but by default is block. Okay. Block public access. And S3, let me talk a little bit here. We got different tier. It is related to pricing. Okay, by default is standard. If we go to AWS S3 pricing, let's talk a little bit on pricing because cost is also important in one of the pillar in the well architecting framework. So first of all, you need to select the region. Let's say Virginia. All right. For S3 standard, okay, take a look on storage price. Is 0.023. All right. If you select another region, let's say Tokyo, okay, the price may change. Tokyo is a little bit higher, the price than US. Normally, if the cost is lower, AWS charge you less. Okay, that's just very simple. And AWS will not increase the price. Okay, actually from 2006 to today, they reduced many service the price more than 100 times. Okay, because economic of scale, they got more and more servers, bigger and bigger environment, the cost lower, and then they charge you lower. All right, so it is often the case that you receive email, something the price drop, something like that. So as you can see, this is the standard. And if you go down, you can see something like in frequent access. And you can see that the price is much lower. Okay, the storage cost is lower. Okay, almost half. And if you go to some other tier, Glacier, Deep Archive, okay, it's really cheap. If you take a look and do some calculation, 0.00099, what does that mean? It means that if you store a terabyte data, okay, for a month, okay, you only pay $1, okay, for a month for 1 terabyte data. I don't think you can buy a hard disk with that cost. This is really cheap, but the consideration as architecting point of view, we come back here and then we will understand. As you can see, standard, okay, you don't have minimum duration and minimum size. Your data will be replicate across the 3 copy across ASA. All right. So what does that mean? If I upload the data 2 hours and then I delete it, I will be only be charged for that 2 hour. All right, proportionally. All right. However, if you select IA, okay, infrequent access, uh, it's cheaper as we saw it before, 40 something percent discount, and then you have minimum storage and duration and size. All right. Let's say you store 2 days and delete it, you still need to pay for whole month. If you have, I really see this a lot. Some customer they got a lot of small file, 1 KB, 2 KB, and then they put it in infrequent access, and then every single object you are charged for 128K. So you are overpaying for more than 100 times. All right. So as architecting point of view, infrequent access could be cheaper, but there is consideration. And Glacier, as you can see, deep archive, the minimum duration is almost half year. All right. So this is your consideration. Not just storage. Actually, for S3, you have the price, the cost for retrieval. If you take a look, you can actually go to this website and take a look. And then for retrieval price, every time you upload and download, there is cost on it. All right, although it is very cheap. Okay, you can see 0.30 and 4 per 1,000 requests. So a million requests, just uh, 40 cents. All right, a million object that you download get. Okay. However, if you take a look on infrequent access, uh, you move it to infrequent access, the price is more than double. All right. So if you put it in infrequent access and keep download, upload, end up it could be more expensive than standard. So that's why as architecture, okay, uh, cloud architect, we need to consider is our data upload download very frequent. All right, are we going to just archive? Do we need to access those data? All right, so to choose which tier we should go to. All right, so that's the architecting point of view. Let's come back to my demo. I just put it in standard and then keep going and upload. And then after that, yeah, the picture. If you go inside, you can see there is the URL. All right. If I just copy this URL and then paste here, okay, I cannot access because it is just like the property use the browser to access this object. As I mentioned before, public access is not allowed by default. All right. Uh, so if I click this button, open, rather than just copy the URL, because when I click this button, it remember this is me. All right, the credentials, the user, and if this user have permission, let's take a look. You can see, you can take a look on the photo. All right, you can download your object. All right, so that's S3. And suppose I really want to uh, disclose this content to the world. All right, maybe really the static object, company logo, the movie for our customer. All right. So what can we do? How can we do it? Okay, let's take a look on something related to permission. Okay, so if we go to this bucket, and then there are many uh, button, okay, and many features. So go to permission, all right, and then you can see uh, this is the button that I set the default setting before, block all public access. So in order to allow this content disclose to the world, there are a lot of settings you need to configure. All right, so that yeah, we have a lot of warning. We need to accept a lot of settings. So let's go inside and take a look. First of all, in the bucket, I remove the block all public access, and then there is warning. All right, you really want to do so? Then I confirm, and then after that, um, let's go back to the object. All right, for the object, okay, there is also permission. Okay, and enforce the ownership, something like that. And here, I need to disable. All right, let me take a look. The access control list in the bucket level. Yeah, here. Yeah, here. This is still bucket level. And if we go down, uh, we need to set the ownership, enable the access control list. Okay, nowadays a lot more settings. And another warning, Okay, and then after that, we go back to the picture, and then now I can edit the access control list. Before, the access control list also disabled, so that nobody can change it. Okay, and then let me allow to everyone another warning. All right, so after all this, if I copy this URL, and then finally I could be able to access using a proper, just like your customer, okay, access your content. So there are many uh, settings you need to go through in order to allow to the world. All right, so let's go back to take a look on the slide, and after I talk maybe 15 more minutes, we will have a short break. Okay, so uh, S3 by default, as we mentioned, only the owner would be able to access. Anyone else could not touch it. That's the default settings. All right, the private bucket. In order to make it proper, I need to accept change a lot of settings. All right, so you can make just like what I did uh, to the public. But in many cases, we don't want to disclose to the public. Maybe we use some policy, allow some people, maybe their financial department would be able to touch it, and then sales department, marketing department, they cannot touch our financial reports, something like that. All right, so we can set policy, and there are many policy that you can set. Uh, Actually, five. Let's take a look. First of all, if you go back to permission, block all public access means block the world uh, to touch it. All right, and then access control list. Uh, I just changed the access control list. However, the access control list, as you can see, is not so granular. All right, you can allow to public, you may allow to another AWS account. All right, but we cannot say Peter, Mary would be able to touch. John uh, could not touch, could touch. Uh, so in order to set very granular settings, we can use bucket policy. Okay, bucket policy. Actually, we use JSON document. All right, so here you can select. You can define. Let's say which time, or maybe office hour you can touch it. After office hour, you cannot touch it. All right, and then you can limit the IP address, maybe the IP address from your company. All right, not from your home. You can also limit the users group, and then also the device type. Maybe you allow Android but not iPhone, something like that. Okay, so it is very granular by using the access control, the bucket policy. All right, you can also limit by time. All right, so and then origin resources sharing. Here we allow other website, all right, to download. So this is cross domain, normally not for human but for other domain, in order to get the object. Think about it. Even if you create, let's say, the web application in your on-prem environment, uh, traditionally, everything you serve your customer is inside your server. Now, maybe the static content from S3. All right. So when people click this link, instead of my server send the data, the video, audio, picture to your customer, they download from S3. Okay, it is exactly the case that in this webinar, when you download the handout, you take a look at the URL is from S3. All right. So this is something like that. So you got a wide range of permission in order to allow, deny people to access. Okay, very granular. And then this is just example. In the policy, we can set allow and deny. We can allow principal, which user, all right, or star means actually everybody, all right. And then what you can do, and the action here is actually the API call. I need to say that everything happen in your AWS account is API call. The API call could come from console, could come from also command line SDK. All right, so as you can see, action wildcard star means actually you can do everything. You can create bucket, If this is in general, all right, you can create a bucket API call, download something, upload something, list something, and instead of all bucket, you can set resources, only this bucket, and then we can add the condition. Let's say this IP only, all right, or not this IP, all right. So could be very granular by using the JSON document. And then another use case is static website. Uh, so as you can see, we can make the website by using EC2. All right. Uh, yeah, the audio, the HTML, all from here. Actually, I can show you a demo here. Uh, let me go to EC2. Yeah, if I go to EC2 and then this machine, that's the IP address. Uh, if you can access the internet, you can go together with me. All right, so this IP address 13.212.8.72. All right, so as long as you can access the internet, you can visit this web server. All right, and actually this web server, let me show you, is using Windows. All right, this is the machine in AWS Cloud, the EC2. So I just use, if you're a Windows guy, the IS, all right, and then the web page is here, okay, from this machine. All right, you can use uh, this machine to host a static website. Static means we don't have the server-side programming language like PHP, Python, Ruby, Java. We just have HTML, okay, and then we have some picture and we have video. All right. So this static website, if you use EC2 virtual machine, it is possible to host it. You are going to pay every single second. Okay. Even if at night no people visit your website, you still being charged every single second. Okay. However, uh, we can do this by using S3. All right. So let me show you here. I already make a static website. Just here I show you. That's actually the features from S3 as well. So I also use the DNS name buyandwoodammo.com. Okay, and I just create a record S3 web. If you visit this website, you can do it now or later. So uh, as you can see, the video is here, the picture is there, and the HTML is here. And if I go to this website, the color is a little bit different to identify where you reach. It's similar, all right? So you use S3 to host this website, static website. Actually, when there is no request, you don't need to pay for the request pricing. Of course, the storage you need to pay, but the storage is super cheap. You can take a look on the pricing. I can say it could be much cheaper and much highly available comparing with you use EC2. Think about if you use just one EC2, it goes down, the song goes down, you lose your server. All right, so that's another features provided by S3, hosting static website or just static content. All right, so it is your choice. And then let's take a look on this one, and then we will take a short break. Uh, Versioning. All right, what is versioning? Think about, uh, as I mentioned, because your data already distributed across ASET, it is very safe. If one ASET goes down, you still have your data. Okay. How about if just some junior admin, all right, cloud admin, all right, and then did something wrong? Maybe he got permission. All right, this is related to access control. Some I do something wrong. Human can do something wrong. Accidentally delete the file. All right, actually, all right, this delete API will also delete the others. Okay, the copy. So everything gone. So this is delete. Not only delete, but also override. Let's say before I have a picture, 1.jpg, okay, and then I override another exactly the same name, all right, 1.jpg, okay, and then if I upload, okay, and then the original gone, all right. So then you do something wrong, you lose your data, all right. So by default, the versioning is off, but what we can do is we can enable the versioning. Okay, so let's take a look. What does that mean? When you enable the versioning, when you do some delete, it is just marker, delete marker. Actually, we have version 1 and version 2. You can always uh, restore the version 1. Okay, but as architecting point of view, uh, you accidental delete, you override, you can get back the earlier version. As architecting point of view, if you keep deleting and then override, you got more and more version. So your storage cost goes up. All right. And then we need to do something to remove the earlier version. Okay. We should say we can use the lifecycle policy in order to remove uh, the earlier version by days. Okay. By if they uh, keep for 180 day, a year, and then remove those earlier version. You can set something like that. So let me demo to you this versioning. Go back to my console. Go back to the cheater. All right. So now I still have the cheater. Uh, let's say uh, I don't need to delete it. Okay. Let me just enable the versioning first. If you go to properties, okay, and then you can see bucket versioning. All right. You see by default, the versioning is disabled. All right. So if I go inside and enable the versioning, all right. After that, enabled, and you can see there is a new button, show version. Okay. Without this, without enable the versioning, you cannot see this button. Okay. Let's say what happened if I really accidentally delete this version, this file. All right, and then gone. However, you can see show versions. And if you click here, you can see this is just delete marker. All right. The most important here is that you can get back your previous version. All right. In order to uh, yeah, retrieve some data, previous data, people accidentally delete or override. Okay. So this is versioning. As we mentioned before, we have a wide range of method in order to set permission. For setting the permission, we can use this one, CORS, cross origin resource sharing. Okay, so it means that my S3 bucket allow other domain in order to visit, maybe not from people, human, but from other domain, other website. So as you can see, also we use the JSON-like format uh, here. Okay, you can see actually I allow example.com to put post delete, all right, and then all others may be able to just get, all right. So we allow other website to download other domain to use our S3 service, all right. So this is uh, the cross origin resource sharing, the permission. Okay, so another example of S3 is we can actually store anything. But one thing to remind that S3, the target customer is not really end user. Okay, so if the end user, okay, they cannot easily use S3 because they need AWS account, they need to use the API call. That's why since the introduce of S3 in 2006, a lot other company, all right, write the front end. Let's say I can name this. Actually, the company name that I mentioned, you can find it in case study. Let me go here, AWS case study. Okay, you can take a look and search for more. if you want. So if you go to AWS case study, AWS, of course, they got more than millions of customer. All right, but we got more than 2,000 success story. Okay, let's say Dropbox, something like that. Okay, you can find Dropbox. Okay, the case study. Uh, I can say they originally, when they start doing the business, they use a lot of AWS, and then after certain years, they try to leave AWS, okay, and build their own data center, and then find that it is very hard to handle so many servers, so many data center, and they come back to AWS again. You can take a look on some case study from here, and a lot other example. Yeah, even Apple, all right, will use the AWS, okay, um, and then you can store anything, media, you can actually in the case study find Netflix, Laza, something like that. Even some government, Clickstream, many game company also use AWS. All right, and then financial data. All right, so it's just object storage. Store your object. Okay, and then later on you can analyze. All right, and another key point for using S3 is backup. Okay, think about it. Suppose you have, sorry, come back here. The on-prem data center. All right. Maybe you can back up your data to S3 by using the console or use command line. And actually, I will say use the command line is much better. Okay, because there are a lot more features by using command line. Later on, we will talk about the multi-pack upload. But let's come back here. So before your on-prem data center, you may back up into something like NAS. Okay, just an equipment hardware, all right, or your home. You can also you at home you can back up to here. Think about it. uh One earthquake, fire, everything gone. All right, so it is better for us to back up to S3 because it is very cheap. All right, I can say personally, okay, many years before I back up my data, okay, maybe the photo together with family, many other personal data, all right, into many years before I burn it into DVD, but after a few years I cannot read those data, and then yeah, I really tried NAS, okay, buy the box and then set RAID 5, okay, I feel very safe at that moment. Free hard disk, okay, RAID 5, and I personally faced at the same time two of the three hard disks uh, yeah, got damaged, and then I lose the data. And starting from many years before I start using AWS, and then now I just upload my data, back up my data in S3 using one single command. All right, one single command, more than 200 gig data. It takes a little bit more than 1 hour. Okay, and then I just through the internet. Actually, if you are a corporate, you can use the direct connect private link. Okay, so this is perfect because the data already I got multiple copy. Okay, so the chance for me to lose the data is very very low. I just back up personally, or you can add as your company. Okay, your company can also back up data to S3. There are many many methods to do so, and then not just your on-prem, but also in AWS. Suppose your EC2, your virtual machine. Do we need to back up those machine? Yeah, if yes, then you can back up to S3. And a lot other database like we mentioned, RDS, DynamoDB, when you back up the data, they also go to S3. All right. The other database, Redshift, but later on we will talk about something called decouple. Uh, in cloud, we better don't store the data in the virtual machine because there are many many storage service we can store somewhere else, so that uh, at night maybe we can terminate those or all machine, all right, in order to save cost. Okay, so in architecting point of view, we can do something like that. Okay.
If you are interested in taking up group training, private group training for teams is also available. And the learning plans for these trainings can be customized for any AWS product or solution area to meet the training requirements that help you learn AWS from world-class certified trainers and instructors. I think I might have just gone forward to, I'm not sure. If you're interested in taking, nope. A lack of skilled talent is one of the most common obstacles to the adoption of cloud services. And regardless of your business drivers for using AWS, skills gaps can potentially derail those outcomes. So, how do you identify and address these skill gaps quickly? Well, there is a solution, a complementary learning needs analysis from NetCom Learning and AWS training and certification. Our LNA is a free self-assessment survey that identifies AWS skills gaps and recommends organizational and individual training plans to address these gaps. The result is faster AWS skills acquisition and optimized training of investments. And optimization of training investments, sorry. The AWS LNA also offers you access cloud skills and for a wide variety of roles across your organization, from developers and data scientists to managers and executives. If you're looking for unlimited training benefits with an enjoyable learning experience, then we have NetCom Learning Plus subscriptions for you. And to get unlimited access to over 500 authorized training solutions from top-notch vendors such as Microsoft, AWS, CompTIA, and more for one full year. And if you have a budget to allocate training for your team, then the Learning Passport is the right option for you. Experience the ultimate option in value and flexibility with our prepaid training package. You can manage your team's annual training needs and redeem from a range of over 4,000 courses from top-notch technology providers. We also have learning consultants who are available 24/7 to assist you with your questions or concerns. You can just email us at aws@netcomlearning.com.